Geologists say they've located 6 faults that ruptured in the 7.8 magnitude earthquake in New Zealand that killed 2 people and displaced just shocking amounts of land. These tremors shook loose thousands of landslides, mainly on New Zealand's South Island, and scientists are saying some of the faults that went along the beach and into the sea, those were the ones that caused a small tsunami. A researcher is saying it was really surprising how many faults ruptured and how complex the breaks actually were. In fact, if you look at some of these maps, okay, you can see these little green areas. This is where they visibly saw where the faults were ruptured. Several spots there, and all around those spots you see these little yellow dots and the orange dots. Those are all aftershocks that you're seeing there.
Meanwhile, California's next big earthquake is coming, folks. You've been hearing it for so many years, but according to a leading scientist who says the Southern California section of the San Andreas Fault is now primed for some action. San Andreas is the state's longest fault and one of the most dangerous. Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt live in Los Angeles for us. So, Jonathan, what are they seeing in this fault at this point?
Well, some pretty stark warnings, Martha. We haven't had a big one along the southern section of the San Andreas Fault as earthquake scientists define a big one since about 1857. But there's obviously been a lot of earthquake activity around the globe recently. You'll remember the terrible pictures we have seen from Ecuador, for instance. So now they're saying San Andreas Fault long overdue. And when you look at a map of the San Andreas Fault, it's about 800 miles in total in length, right along California. But it's that southern section near Los Angeles that they're concerned about. You see San Bernardino and Riverside marked there, suburbs of L.A., and they say that that section looks ready to go. The quote, in fact, from Thomas Jordan, director of the Southern California Earthquake Center, was this, quote, "The springs on the San Andreas system have been wound very, very tight, and the Southern Andreas Fault in particular looks like it's locked, loaded, and ready to go." Frightening words, and every earthquake expert we've been hearing from in probably the last decade, Martha, has been saying the same thing. The one thing they can't agree on is exactly when it's coming. Martha?
Yeah, and boy, would that be helpful. So how bad do they think, looking at where this is, it could be? And has anything or can anything be done to mitigate the damage?
Well, first of all, on the preparations, they say that we should be prepared for an 8 magnitude earthquake. Obviously, that is absolutely huge. They put out a simulation, in fact, of what the shaking might look like in the L.A. area. And a 2008 U.S. Geological Survey report said that if we had something like a 7.8 earthquake, for instance, it could cause something like 1,800 deaths, 50,000 injuries, and something like $200 billion in damage to the Southern California area. So this is a major problem. But for a long time now, a lot of buildings in LA have been retrofitted. There are new standards, so they've done everything they can. But if the big one comes, it's going to be bad, Martha.
The crushing drought in California is in its 5th year. Experts say it's the worst the state has seen in more than 1,000 years. I know it might be hard to get your head around that statistic, but now, before and after satellite photos of reservoirs around the state offer some dramatic evidence. For example, look at these pictures of Lake Cachama, which serves 5 water districts north of Los Angeles. The lake is just a fraction of its former self. On the plus side, Northern California did get a lot of rain in October, and it's starting to recover. But the drought remains in Central and Southern California, including very important agricultural areas. And a 3-year drought emergency remains in effect.
This is the Shinnecock Canal. Unbelievable scene. Tons and tons of bunker, starving for oxygen and dying. Even the locals have not seen anything like this before.
Seabird poop could help save melting Arctic ice. A team of atmospheric scientists noted a high concentration of ammonia in the air surrounding the Canadian Arctic during the summertime. Around that same time of year, millions of birds flocked to the area to breed. So the researchers decided to mimic the chemicals in bird guano and found ammonia from seabird poop can keep temperatures cooler in the Arctic. The magic happens when certain species of birds relieve themselves and their feces interact with sulfuric acid from seawater. The chemicals combine with water vapor and go into clouds that can shield Arctic ice from the sun and reflect the heat back into space. This bird poop discovery is important because Arctic sea ice isn't doing so great right now. Earlier this year, sea ice hit its second lowest level ever recorded. Unfortunately, the find isn't going to do much to combat the worldwide effects of climate change, but it might just keep temps up north slightly cooler.
Bodies are pulled from the train's shattered remains. Another tragedy on India's railways.
All of a sudden, there was a massive jerk. Our heads collided with the roof of a coach after that coach was derailed. We somehow managed to come out because the door couldn't be opened. After coming out of the coach, we saw that the train had derailed. My 4 to 5 companions are missing.
This is what's left of the Indore-Patna Express. Just after 3 o'clock local time on Sunday morning, it crashed off the rails near the city of Kanpur. Most of the victims were in 2 carriages near the engine, which overturned and were badly damaged. It's not yet known why the 14 carriages derailed. Rescue teams have been focusing on getting people out.
There are many ambulances here. We've pulled out many dead bodies. Our challenge is that we have to take out people from a coach which has been crushed by another coach. Secondly, one more coach has been badly damaged, where some people are believed to be stuck.
Kanpur is a big railway junction. Hundreds of trains pass through it every day. Train accidents are common in India, where much of the railway equipment is out of date. 39 people were killed in an accident also in Uttar Pradesh in March last year. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said on Twitter he is anguished beyond words on the loss of lives. His thoughts, he said, were with the bereaved families. India's rail network is vast. It's the 4th largest in the world. For nearly 23 million passengers who use it every day, the chance their train might crash has become a risk they have to take. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.
Right now, protesters gathering in front of President-elect Donald Trump's Palm Beach home.
This as Mr. Trump continues to meet with prospective members of his administration. News Channel 5's Alex Hagan live on Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago with the latest on this protest. Alex.
Well, John and Tanya, I'm here on Bingham Island. Take a look here behind me. You can see the crowd here gathering. They just got done marching, actually, to Mar-a-Lago. They weren't allowed to actually stay on the island. They were only allowed to march around the area and then come back here to Bingham Island. And you can see them chanting, making their voices heard here on Southern. Now, recently we've seen protesters rally outside Trump Plaza in downtown West Palm Beach, though the condos are not owned by the president-elect. Tonight, however, is the first time protesters made the trek over to Mar-a-Lago, where they are peacefully protesting, at least right now, saying Donald Trump is not their president and does not represent their values. And we caught up with some of the protesters before their march.
The fundamental part of democracy is the mobilization of the people. And by mobilizing the people, we can show where there is consent and where there is not consent for a Trump administration. The goal is to use the political power of the masses to keep Trump in check.
Now, we have seen a large number of Palm Beach police here monitoring this protest. I'm told by the organizers that they cleared a plan with the officers before this march, this protest happened here tonight. Live in Palm Beach, Alex Hagan, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Federal judge offers a nice, warm welcome to the latest batch of legal immigrants.
And he will be your president. And if you do not like that, you need to go to another country.
I've seen that clip 5 times and I smile every time. Loyalty or leave? Details next. And
welcome back. Well, a federal judge in Texas has a strong message for legal immigrants at a citizenship ceremony. He says they should respect the new president. Take a listen.
I can assure you that whether you voted for him or you did not vote for him, if you are a citizen of the United States, he is your president, and he will be your president. And if you do not like that, you need to go to another country.
Discussing this all morning.
You
and your
need
emails,
to go.
You
Yeah,
need to.
go.
Yeah, Ed and I have been chatting it up, and Abby as well. Your emails, while we've been doing that, have been pouring in. And Ryan writes on Twitter, he said, won't be well received, but true. The rest of us have things to do. Don't disrupt us because you're sad. Shape up or ship out.
Ty says, as immigrants ourselves, he is our president elected by the people of the United States, and we need to respect that.
So what do you think of the judge's loyalty or leave message? Let us know, of course, on Twitter or on Facebook. This is an interesting one.
I think part
Obviously,
one is great. Respect the president. He's president for everyone. The second part, I think he forgot the Constitution, various things about you must leave. If you don't like the president,
you need. He said need.
You need to leave, which sounds to me
very
like
important.
it's not like you could leave. We have freedom of choice and expression.
There were so many people that said, that promised that they were going to leave this country if Mr. Trump ended up winning. He did win.
Celebrities.
They're still here, by the
still
way.
here.
The moving trucks are not at their homes. I've been watching this closely.
Turns out there's
They're
a
not
lot
there.
of perks to being a U.S. citizen. That's the point he's making. Citizenship is an intentional act.